So you hated the first Black
Shut
Panther,
up.
right?
We're not starting like that. We're not starting.
Hated
like
it, right?
I did not hate it.
Okay.
I thought the CGI was bad,
Okay.
and I didn't like Killmonger that much.
So you didn't like the main villain, and then the editing style of it.
Yeah,
you
but
didn't like.
hate is a strong word. It's not like I refuse to watch it again or give it another try. Or
Sure, it's okay. It's one of your
that I
least
would.
favorite Marvel movies.
It's in the lesser body of work.
It's okay to be honest. Like you didn't.
I am being honest.
enjoy
I'm not
it.
lying. It's in the lesser body of work.
Okay. Now, just after watching Black Panther 2,
Incredible.
before you even say yes, okay, get out of the way. Incredible movie, loved it. Finally, we can talk about it because we watched it last night, and until we did this freaking thing, I'm like, okay, are we not going to talk about this because we need to talk about this? So, okay,
It's been painful for anyone that doesn't know. We watched it last night. We were going to do the pod right after, but we just
the fight.
realized it was too late. We wanted to watch the Izzy fight, so we waited. It's the next day now. We're finally going to talk about it. We haven't said anything about it.
we had an hour drive or like 45-minute drive from the movie theater, and we're just like, okay, we have to find other topics, like, and then I just instantly say something like, oh, and then I'm like, can't talk about
can't
it.
do it.
Yeah.
We almost did it during breakfast this morning
This
too.
morning we had breakfast and we started like saluting certain things, and I'm like, oh, can't.
It's been so hard. But finally, we're here.
Yes.
To freaking talk about it.
It is excellent. But before we even get too much into it, watching this, some movies, like when you watch like the sequels, it makes the other beginning one more valuable with certain scenes that we know, with like Killmonger showing up and different things like that, kind of connecting to the first one. Do you like the first one more, or does it kind of just stay the same? Didn't really affect it?
For now, the same, but it's made me eager to watch it again. I'll probably watch it this week and give it like another watch with the new lens and see how it changes my opinion. But for right now, I think it would stay the same. But incredible sequel, man.
Yeah.
Incredible. Standalone. But I was telling Bella, this is the one thing I said last night in the car with you guys at the end. The only thing that I said was that it's just, I'm so happy to be a part of a universe that has been able to build up so much content over so many years. And to be able to use the flashbacks of T'Challa from all of the content that they've made is just, it's just beautiful to see that they can honor him in that way, you know, that they don't have to use real life images or something. Like there's so much that they build with that character that using the little flashbacks from actually, because there's different ways that movies and content has honored people that have passed away. And I thought they did it impeccable.
That was one of my things too. I was curious on how they were going to introduce him or like continue the story. And one of the things I was curious about was like, are they going to do it like Fast 8 or whatever? Would they have Paul Walker's like brother, and then they do the CGI effect
over his face? Yep.
And
which at the time I was okay with. Yeah. But I think if I had the option, this is the way that I felt like someone should really be honored.
Yeah, it's respectable. Yeah, it's
very respectable.
It was a cool way of doing it. I like that. I like that they could honor him in a good way. How did you feel about like the way that they killed him off, I guess, in the series?
Amazing.
Do you like that?
Fine. I don't need more than what they gave me. I don't need them to... Their audience, we are aware enough to know.
Yeah, I mean, the beginning
what
scene
really
with the
happened.
Marvel entrance.
Exactly.
We see like him showing up, which is amazing. It's a way to start it.
I think you're just put in a tricky situation when someone really passes away. And there are ways where you can maybe over explain it and try and make it too much, and then you put all your resources to CGI and trying to recreate scenes that they were never able to do. And I feel like with the options that they had, the best way to do is just to get to it. Know that your audience knows and is expecting it.
Respect your audience.
How it happened necessarily isn't as important. It's how you respect that he's moved on now. And how are we going to pay tribute to that? And not hide away from it and not try and find like just like some tape on it or something. I feel like it was very well done. I was very moved. I was emotional. I definitely cried twice during the movie. Yeah. That part, and then the end where we find out
that
he had a son That got me too.
I mean, anyone watching this knows it'll just make like you either watched it or you're in for spoilers if you're watching something talking about the movie.
Which is actually really sad because I know that he had a wife, right, in real life, but he never
I
had
don't
a
think he had any
kid.
kids in real life, no.
That's like really sad. But it's such an interesting way that they chose to honor him because that would have been amazing to know that Chadwick has a son out there that will grow up one day and you know,
pass it on. It's really cool, like his touch and when he was able to participate in, and then they still carried it on in a respectful way that didn't damage it or take away from this. So we can kind of keep track before I touch on like the end and stuff. We have the beginning, the funeral scenes, beautiful cinematography, love all of that. Like that,
the music.
Yeah, the only one thing that I thought was off was there was one CGI thing at the funeral when the thing's raised, the like casket for. I thought that was really bad. I could have just been me in the moment of the movie theater.
I don't recall CGI that specific
kind of scene. Poor, but it was it was a random scene. But like when you were also, it was juxtaposed against the beautiful like funeral scenery of the dances and stuff, and then that moment when the spaceship comes or their craft to pull it up. It's like that kind of looks like poor CGI.
The only CGI that I felt was poor enough for me to feel something about was the new armor that Okoye has, the blue one.
Yeah.
When the helmet would come on and off, I thought that CGI didn't look that good at all.
Yeah, looks kind of clinky.
Yeah. That was the only part that I felt was significant enough for me to... I felt like they tried... I don't know how they shot this movie, but there were a lot of really, really tight shots and like super, super blurry background.
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe they were shooting a lot of that screen that they use for Mandalorian and like Disney is now notorious for using. And I don't know how many practical sets they were really on, which I'd be curious about. The only practical set I know was Namor's home. His was sick. With a little hut inside the cave. I was not expecting that, by the way, for someone who's king of the ocean to be living inside of a hut above water.
Or to have things like above the water so much. Yeah, it was an interesting like way that they established it, right? Like you're underwater, why be not underwater, even though you can, right? Because you float.
Where did Aquaman live? Where's his house?
Like, I mean, this Aquaman,
is it in a
Jason Momoa?
Yeah, is he in a hut? No, he's probably like sleeping in like a waterbed or something, right? Like underwater.
I don't think he's really staying in the water really that much, right? Until we see Aquaman 2, I guess. But
you don't see everything though. You never know.
Never know, because he lives with like his dad. He lives on like land and stuff.
I'm pretty sure he moved out though.
He's just chilling by the whale on 77th.
How did you feel in comparison? I wanted this
comparison of what?
Aquaman to Namor, because we know that like Marvel intentionally has been holding off on doing Namor for a while. We've known that, and they've teased him for a long time.
He's a goofy character in the comics, so it's kind of hard to introduce him.
Right, but at the same time, they're doing Aquaman, and Aquaman is succeeding with Jason Momoa. So I was very curious to see how they would approach doing Namor in this movie.
I love the Mayan Aztec feel. I like that like ancient connectivity. So it's not like Arthur, who's like Jason Momoa, who's Aquaman, almost said merman. SpongeBob. Aquaman is like SpongeBob is like younger. He's like related to royalty, but not really himself. Like growing in that and raised in that, and becomes a fighter. So that's a cool story, like line within like his lore of the water and his connectivity to animals and stuff. That's really cool. Then you have Namor, who is the king, who's been around for years. It's like a god. Like he says, like the god of whatever they call him. Kokokan or whatever.
Tukutan?
No, it's not Tukokan. I think it's like Kokotan.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's like a couple Ks.
I think it started with a T, but yeah.
That could be very wrong. But like independent. Like that Mayan lore.
Yeah.
And kind of like this could be real type feel. Those type of things I thought was really cool. I like that feel. And then even like him showing like, oh, I brought the sun down to them and all these different things, even the introduction of I'm a mutant.
Right.
So it's the first, I think, cinematic mutant confirmation, I think.
Yeah, because it's existed in the shows. I think it was...
it's trying to be introduced more and more since Miss Marvel, I think. And now to have it like fully in a movie, have him the way he does. Now, comparatively, like Aquaman v Namor, in terms of like what they can do, Namor is pretty crazy, right?
No, Namor's OP.
Like
OP.
They even reference it. He's like strong as a Hulk. Like when he did the punch against Mbatu, whatever, and just broke his shit, like his armor. He was like, "We should not fight this man."
No, he's a fucking problem. Yeah, very strong. But I mean, not only in his power, but how you feel like they built the universe around him and like
I love it.
His environment. And
I was rooting for him.
I know you were.
He's the good guy.
Did you like what is it called? Tulucan?
The city?
Yeah, the city.
Fire city, fire, like all of this Mayan temple stuff, Aztec type things.
What surprised me was that there wasn't more of them, though. I expected like a very, very, very large developed city. I think similar to how other places have done, like Atlantis, because this is essentially Atlantis.
I guess they were showing some of it, but they didn't go like they did. It seems like they didn't show a lot.
But when they were first entering in, like there were so many people taking care of the crops and like just about, and like the only really developed building was the king's house.
Interesting.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of them were just like out and about. So, and it didn't look as large as I expected. I expected like our Atlantis, the MCU, Tulucan, to be like a lot of them. When they were showing up to Wakanda, I was like, oh, there aren't really a ton of them.
He made it sound too, like when he was saying like I have like my armies that. But well, so this is what happened though. When he went to Wakanda, he didn't bring his full army. He said that, and then he said he would give him 7 days, and then they ran a trap where they did the mining thing. And then they just brought a group of people to go hit the mine or mining thing. So he didn't really get a chance.
No, I know that they attacked in groups, but I mean, based off of what we saw of like their actual homeland, unless there's more bases or something.
We didn't see, yeah. Well, it seems like they're connected all around the oceans. It's like it's not just the one.
I'd be curious to see that. Which is
much large.
Where they're setting up another civil war, essentially. Well, this was Civil War, like part 2.
I think they're setting up as like the mutant wars too. Like, so he's a mutant. He's already talking about like when the other countries and whatever, right towards the ending, don't align with Wakanda or try to attack, we'll be here to ally with them. He's mentioned that he's a mutant. There's already growing tensions, as you can see, like geopolitically, and I think that's a lot of these other shows might be touching upon. And so the small thing is you have the Secret Wars, you have these things coming up, you have the introduction of X-Men, and then it's going to be like not just countries, it's more of like us v them, kind of like Civil War was, you know. And then some of the mutants and superheroes will be like, yeah, we're on the government side, we want to work with them, like Iron Man was. And then someone will be like Cap and Ben Trout.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting what that means for the future of the MCU, whether the next move for the next Black Panther is Namor and Wakanda join together and fight the rest of the world essentially, and then that distracts them enough for Kang to come through, and then they have to come together to defeat him, or if that's just like the destruction of the world and Secret Wars. Oof. The setup possibilities are crazy. That's the most exciting part that I can think of right now from like that end of the movie, of just another step forward of setting up the universe, which has been something we've been waiting for a little bit.
Yeah.
And I know we've grown impatient and felt like it's time to move. You know, I feel like you've been creating a lot of content, but as far as moving forward in this universe, where like let's start developing these stories. Yeah. And now the setups are being blatantly obvious.
I think there was also like a lot to cover after the catastrophic like end of Endgame. that they just need to catch up on a lot, like 5-year blips, like make what is the geopolitical world like? What is
there's so many stories to tell.
Yeah. So there's a lot to tell. So I understand. Like, I don't think they were milking it. I think it's very much like this is a necessity. Like, they only had the option to like explain this. They couldn't just start from that. Like, okay, cool, Endgame's done. This is Kang. Hate him. Like, they have to introduce what happened around. So I like how they're doing it. Ant-Man looks great. How did you feel about Shuri becoming the Black Panther, first off? And then I think second part is where you can touch a little bit more and get a little bit more touchy, is who she saw when she became the Black Panther. So first off, how do you feel about her being the new Black Panther?
Loved it.
Yeah.
I feel like they definitely leaned into it, killing her mom and really putting her through deep tragedy to make you feel and empathize with her, to feel like not only does she deserve it, but what she's been through and how much she's maturing through this film, it's almost deserved. And for someone who's also, like I said, deserved it because of her royalty, right?
Yeah.
And her place in line, and also how intelligent she is and how essential she was to the war. But I loved it, man. I loved the suit. The gold was sick.
It's fire, right?
Yeah.
Even like she has the projectors that shoot out like the
dope
sound waves or whatever. Love those.
Loved it, man. I have no complaints. I think they did great, and I'm happy. I definitely am happy that they didn't go with Killmonger, because I know people out there were hoping or expecting for that to happen, and I was going to be so pissed if not unless from the beginning you give him screen time and show me that he deserves it. When he just appeared for that, when she goes into the freaking dream state or whatever it's called,
the celestial realm,
or
the realm of the ancestors, one of those two. Yeah,
nice, good shit, bro.
Yeah,
good memory.
I know there's a couple of those things. So yeah. It's ancestral realm.
Yeah, once it was there, I was like, okay, I don't think there's any time now in the part of the movie for you to make him
the guy. Just come out. The
guy, yeah. So this is just going to be a lesson along the way.
Yeah.
And dude, I mean, she really made her vengeance come out. She was fired up after seeing him.
It's interesting because she was fearful because she didn't want to be him, but she was like kind of leaning towards him. I thought it was interesting their play on that duality of like who you want to be. I felt like it could have been a common thread. I didn't really see it as much, like as a quick change. Like Kylo Ren, you see him fighting between good and evil, or Rey, and it's maybe apparent. They did that with her, and I was just like, no, she's good. Like, I know she's good. She's angry because her family was killed, like kind of justifiably angry. There were some things here and there. They did some stupid acts in terms of like war and like negotiations and stuff, like with another diplomacy. They kind of effed up. They could have handled that better and not avoided the war, you know? Yeah, I was interested when I saw Killmonger. I was like, really? Doesn't make sense that he would be called or not, and where they're called. But
yeah, why do you think she saw him?
Because she's angry. Yeah, I think it's just that she's just really angry.
So she was tripping balls and just saw vengeance because that's what she was feeling spiritually or in her energy.
I mean, these places are real. Like the MCU, which is really cool, is they confirm like all the.
But as we see, a lot of the beliefs are being broken, and that was also a theme in this movie when Okoye was like the understanding of her gods and where she understands from her faith, and then for Tulakan to exist, and for them to be completely like shook her understanding of what her faith to be. And she said that in the sequence when she first comes into the lab to talk to Shuri, I believe, and they're looking at the map when they find out that Tulakan exists. So I think it's just showing how there's just a bunch of the Marvel universe is like every religion is true almost in a way.
Yeah, I like that.
So there's no one absolute truth. It's every mythology exists.
Yeah. They all exist.
All mythologies into one.
They don't touch too much into Christianity because people get like antsy, but they've touched upon all of them. They've shown them, like, I mean, Thor is a great example of that. when he has like the room with all like the gods and Zeus and all them. And so it's cool to see how they play with it in terms of celestial realm,
But
and
my
how like
point
tech
is
and stuff
how-
is updating. Like things are updating and changing. And so for her, it wouldn't even make sense for her to go to the ancestral plane. Like when it's a lot of reference points, but in Moon Knight,
Yeah.
his thing that he saw was a mental location, and then the hippopotamus goddess, whatever, was like, oh yeah, it's, you know, for a lot of people it's a lot of things. It just really depends, but this is the afterlife, this is what, like, then when he gets out of that, he's on a boat, but like what you see is what's up to you. Some people see different things, and I think that for Shuri, like, that's her place. It wouldn't be necessarily like when T'Challa went to the ancestral realm, he saw his like field, and that's where he was at. When Killmonger did it, he saw something different. I don't know exactly what he saw, but I know it was either his like old house with his dad and stuff. Like, so I think they all see what really connects to them, but it's still the same place. It's more of like how it shows up to you. It's different, like, to each person. And then in this logic of their realm, you call upon the person that you're mostly connecting, not necessarily the person you want to see. Right. So like for sure, she probably didn't want to see him.
Right. And then T'Challa saw his dad, right?
Yep. But it's like, who impacts you the most at that moment?
Right. And he was just going through grief.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. Which I also thought was a great opportunity to, well, there was an opportunity there to lean into T'Challa.
Yeah, I thought they were going to show him.
And they could show him. But like I said earlier, they did it in a way where
they didn't have to artificially do anything with him.
Exactly. There was an opportunity there to do it, and some people would have done it. Some people would make the movie where T'Challa CGI'd is, or try and, you know, make that a moment. But they were very gentle and like polite and graceful with it.
Yeah.
Ryan Coogler, dude.
Did amazing.
The touch. It's the touch. Amazing job.
I really like that, because as soon as I saw her taking the herb, I was like, okay, what are the chances that we see Chadwick now? Because she's gonna go there. It's like their perfect chance. They could do like a cool mystical edit on it. It'd be really easy. Doesn't take much. Some AI, you know, some deep fake. But no, I think they did it very respectfully and commendable on that side. Interesting having him back, and like kind of almost like he was like grown, because he's like hair is longer. He's kind of look more zen, even though he's talking about things.
He looked like a fucking dope superhero, badass villain.
Yeah.
The look was dope.
Yeah. One thing, actually, I mentioned this before when I was talking about She-Hulk. One thing I liked about this movie, and I didn't like about She-Hulk or some other films, is I don't like when there's a female role, like lead, and they try to over-explain why they're good. This movie didn't do anything. They didn't mention once, like, oh, we're girls. Like when they just ask Riri, like, are you okay? She goes, oh, I'm raised in Chicago or something like that. Like, I know how to do it. It wasn't like, I'm a woman. What do you think? I'm 20 times better because I'm a woman. Right. Like that wasn't like their only personality. Their personality was deeper than that. And sometimes I think that a lot of times movies, when they want to add like a female lead, the unfortunate thing is they try to defend themselves so much. It was like the problem with Brie Larson. Is it Brie Larson, right? Yep. When she goes out on these tours, it seems like her co-stars don't like her because, you know, Mark Ruffalo or Chris Hemsworth would joke around like, oh yeah, you're stronger, or whatever. Right. She'd be like, no, I am the strongest. Right. And women are the smartest. And like, it's like, we get it. You don't have to overly like, justify your...
I'm glad that you brought that up, because I actually I was considering maybe doing a podcast with Bella, because I really wanted to fledge out her opinion on how she saw the movie, because the movie has a lot of female strong leads.
And I love that.
Amazing. And I thought, oh my God, the Queen's performance, just, bro, grand slam. Oh yeah, 100%. Like incredible acting, moving. They did her wonderfully. Shuri, and then we haven't even talked about Riri. Riri was great.
Even the what's her name? I forget, but the mother.
T'Challa's wife. I forget her name.
Yeah, but like you have all these female. Like the only male lead per se was Namor, and then
the detective,
and then barely had detective time. So realistically, like leading roles, like
really leading roles just need to be held on character and just deep narrative storytelling.
That's why I really enjoyed it, because again, I want to have a daughter. I want to point to like girl heroes. Captain Marvel isn't one because she's just always defending her side. Like, unfortunately, right? If you have or She-Hulk, like, I'm better than you because it's like you taking away. There's no one's real people aren't like that. Real people have more context. Real people aren't like, I'm a woman. This is my like identity. It's I like, just because I'm a woman doesn't mean I don't play video games, right? True. Like it's not.
But I enjoyed Captain Marvel. I would just say Captain Marvel is a little bit just lighter on the tone. This movie has some deep, just deep topics. Yeah, and a lot of. I don't know if you could show this necessarily to a 6 or 7 year old. Captain Marvel, I might, it's like just like a good superhero flick.
Sure. But like Wonder Woman's just good because she's good. But
right, but I'm saying Marvel taking the opportunity to lead into talking about like deep themes and really building on a character that way, rather than just making them OP and then just like a winner.
Yeah, I like that. I like the realist side of it. One thing I never understand, though, by the way, just from a logistical point, Namor says, right, that all his people are super strong fighting. We saw like the first fight, like they got cut and just got back to like fine, right? That was a main point. It wasn't really utilized too much on the fighting afterwards. I was kind of like, don't they all just
Did he just heal himself or something?
Yeah, they just kind of healed themselves earlier, right? And so I was like, can't they just keep on doing that?
Yeah.
Like, why are they dying?
That's a good point. I didn't think about that.
So then there's that. But like, they're like, oh, because they all ate from this plant, so they all got this whatever. So I'm like, okay, why is there still this stupid tradition? Especially from the person who's like, I don't like tradition. I'm into tech, blah, 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 and trying to break tradition. She's like, okay, I'm going to take the herb because I'm the Black Panther and we're going to plant more for the Black Panthers. And it's like, why don't you make your whole tribe? Just let them all eat it. Like, now you have a whole army of Black Panthers. Literally. They don't have to be the Black Panther, but they can all be part of Wakanda, and be the part of being Wakandan is being
a Black Panther,
like having the strength. No, only one person does it. Why, bro? It makes no sense to me. It's like, oh, give them suits. It's like, no, give them the freaking herb
so they can have an OP nation.
Yeah, bro. I don't understand it.
But the problem is you might have war, like civil war, because just everyone's OP.
Yeah, but I feel like Wakanda's never had one internally.
King. I know, but if you give everyone superpowers, you might have a problem.
I don't know.
It's possible.
Okay. Branching off of Black Panther for like 2 seconds.
Okay.
Do you think the solution to the world is everyone's fighting? Everyone gets a superpower? Is it a better world, or no one has superpowers at all? Better world.
The politically correct answer is, what's a better world?
Oh wow! Okay,
if you want to go in that direction,
I'm like sliding in my chair. You're being media trained here. Okay.
Yeah, you want to fix yourself.
No, I want to hear your answer. Seriously, okay. Whatever your version of better world is, what is it?
Yeah, you got to push that back.
I'm making a mess.
No. Here, okay. Push this shit back.
I know. I got to.
Let me think. Back. There you go. You got it.
There we go. There we go.
Let me think.
Take your time.
Ask me one more time.
Okay. So, what is the better world outcome? A world full of people with superpowers?
What's a better world?
Or no one has superpowers?
Depends. What's the superpower?
No, random superpowers.
No, it can't be random. If it's like strength, probably not, because humans are violent.
So would you rather everyone being weak and only select few being strong, or everyone being?
Depends on what's the superpower, bro. Like love, give it to everybody.
No, like a mutant power, like mutants.
Okay,
random
what power?
Selections. Like
flying.
Like some of them are flying, some of them have superpower, like superheroes.
Oh, random, just completely random.
Everyone gets a superpower, random.
Sure, I guess for the evolution of mankind, for us to just move forward. But I think short term, probably not a good idea.
I'm under the belief that you should let everyone, like, I kind of feel the opposite. I was like, nah, everyone should have superpowers. It'd be lit. Like,
no, eventually it's going to be lit.
No, it's going to be lit. I think
this first, 5-10 decades is going to be tough.
I don't think that long.
It's going to be a lot of death and destruction.
There's going to be a lot of people trying to rise up to the top, but it's it levels the playing field, I feel.
Yeah, but it destroys our world in like instantly.
Possibly.
Every facet of our life is different.
Oh yeah, but it'd be so cool. Imagine so imagine tomorrow we woke up with superpowers. Like you
Everything.
have like
it would destroy religions. It would break currency. It would, of course, it would. If people started flying, everyone's gonna start believing. Like, bro, I don't know what it is, but everyone's gonna have different beliefs in their faith. I believe in this, and all of a sudden, someone's freaking invisible and floating. Like, that's I think I might start tripping. Like, it's world order just destroyed in it. Everyone's morality, like.
I mean, I'd be lit.
Thoughts,
I'd be lit, bro.
Brains are just exploding.
Okay. That happens tomorrow. We wake up. Everyone has superpowers. Okay. I know we got super sidetracked off of Black Panther. This is why you guys love us. This is why people love having conversations, because they're crazy, off topic. But
facts.
Okay. You wake up. Everyone has superpowers, right? You go check on Bella. Bella can go through walls.
Yeah.
She can literally go through things.
Yeah. Boom. Sick.
Okay, cool. You have super speed.
Yeah.
Like supersonic.
I'd like that.
I wake up. I don't know. I know which one I want, but I'm just going to say a random one because I don't want to say the one I want.
No.
The one I want is
No, you got to say it.
The one I want is teleporting. Oh, I would love teleporting.
That's a great one.
Yeah, but I don't want to give myself an OP one. Teleporting is my favorite one. I would teleport and rob every single bank in the world.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I mean,
you want to share with me?
I'm sure you're super fast. We could do it together. I'm saying, what's your first thing you do? What's like my first thing is literally the first thing I do. I find that out. The whole world's like checking stuff. I think the first thing I do is teleport. Make sure my wife is okay. Cool, you're good. Second thing I do is teleport to the nearest banks before other people do the same. And then I keep my money.
Probably
find a nice place to stay and hide out, because there's going to be kind of like a slight little bit of like a what's that game? Purge. Mm-hmm. Of the purge dies down.
The thing is, if superpowers start happening to everybody, money is going to be worthless. Cash is going to be worthless.
No, cash would still be there. It just depends.
If everybody had superpowers, it would destroy world government.
No, it wouldn't.
Money would be nothing.
No, it wouldn't.
You're crazy, bro.
No, it wouldn't.
Everybody.
Yeah, because someone might have a superpower to be super fast.
All of a sudden,
another person has a superpower to come back.
Putin is the Hulk.
Sure.
You don't think that's going to cause some problems?
Yeah, Putin's Hulk, and then Trump is freaking a dragon, and then
what if he's not a dragon?
Biden's a snail, because I don't know what else he could be. Imagine Biden with like super strength.
What if all Americans turn into snails? Just by odds.
No, just the odds.
You said it was random. We might not get the pick of the litter.
Yeah, but all of America's it's too random. That'd be like
have a lot of bitches running around.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of crazy stuff. No, yeah, all the weak superpowers will die out, but people in power would stay in power. It still exists. Still exists. That will still exist. People still want governments and need government in some sense. It's like saying basically giving everyone a bazooka. Yeah, there'd be some trouble, but not groundbreaking trouble for the world. It's going to change like more how we deal with things. There's going to be people, religious groups, the new religion starting. There's going to be things like that. There's going to be questioning of the government, like how this happened, things like that. There will probably be deaths, but it's like, it just means like going into, how you go through like security checks on an airplane.
Well, it's basically mirroring what's happening in the MCU.
Yeah.
Especially with what was talked about in one of the courtroom scenes with vibranium, and then them knowing that it can't be detected through metal detectors. Like it literally creates crazy problems. And a lot of things need to be checked. Systems just have to change. It's kind of cool that it's being reflected in the universe too. Marvel has been good at kind of keeping things relevant. And
well, yeah, because that's a real question you have, right? You always watch these superhero movies, and then it's like, yeah, Superman, he saved everyone. It's like, didn't they just tear through Metropolis? Like, I'm pretty sure there's like 1,000 people dead. Who pays for that? Yeah, Superman doesn't have money. Like, whose insurance that is? There are real questions. It's like those memes, where it's like POV. You live in a universe in Marvel, you're trying to go to work and your car's just crushed. It's just the things that you go through. So yeah, it's definitely interesting. I like how they show it a little bit more. I like also I liked seeing that there is like their conversations with world leaders, and they're pushing that, and there is that dynamic, and the US is plotting, and so other countries plotting, and to see Val in a movie, because have we seen her in a movie yet, or she's only been in the shows?
No, she was in the end of Black Widow. No,
Possibly, yeah.
in the post-credit scene.
She's in the post-credit scene of Black Widow, and then so this is the first time screen time she has it.
I don't know if it was post-credit scene or right at the end. I can't remember.
Yeah, one of the two when she recruits Yelena. Yeah, I liked seeing her.
it was cool.
I like seeing what she might do. It's just it gives you so much options. That's again the crazy thing with what Marvel's been able to succeed with is this movie and what this was in this universe and this war is like part of it and great and amazing. And then you go and then you have the quantum realm. You can have universe changing things, and that's all good. You have Doctor Strange and wherever he just went, where he did the swipe, figure out that realm he's going into, right? Boom. Then you have freaking, the Celestials doing what they're doing, coming up forward because they got called to like a tribunal. You have Thor off in his adventure, and you can do this all, and then you can say, oh yeah, this is all in the same week. It's like, that's crazy to me.
Nuts.
Like all this happened with Wakanda and Namor and his people, and we didn't see any other superheroes involved. And they might not even know what happened. Most likely the world doesn't even know what happened.
Yeah,
that's
it's just
crazy.
showing you how much other things are going on and how Wakanda has been able to protect their country and their land. Like they're just so many things going on, and I'm really glad you brought up just post Endgame. Like they've really taken the time to make sure that they're not just going over things. Like these characters need to go through pain, need to go through agony. There needs to be that trauma that they deal with, because that's the best way to consume movies is when they're mirroring things that people are usually going through. I mean, trauma is a big connector for people. So I'm glad that they're taking the opportunity to really dive into those topics.
More realism,
yeah. Well, and I feel like Marvel has always done that well. They've always, their characters for the most part are built on those things. That's
one of the things I tell you I don't like about Superman. He's just too Wonder Bread for me.
Right.
Like, yeah, you got shot from your family in another planet.
Yeah.
I really don't. It's just it's too not relatable.
Yeah.
For me to like care. Whereas you have like things like this, like losing your family members.
It's funny because you brought it up yesterday, and Fam was here too, and Fam agreed with you, thinking that he was vanilla. I was like, oh shit.
He's very vanilla.
I didn't know a lot of people thought that.
Yeah, it's just very vanilla. It's like superpowers it's just weird. I can't like him that much. And I like that Marvel has not really fallen into that trap. It shows more of a difficulty to just accept things. Like you can't just hate Namor, for example. Like I like him. Cool intro to his name, right? Where there's like it's like you came from a place of no love, where your mom made you with no love, and it's like, so from that day I went from
Namor,
from like no amor to Namor, and I like that like play on.
I liked it too. Yeah, I liked it too. I didn't mind his explanation.
I didn't mind also. One thing that some people critiqued him on, the actor, don't know his name, that he wasn't like ripped.
I didn't like that at all, because I feel like he looks like a Latin well-built man.
Yeah, like strength isn't just that you have like
you're not cut.
Yeah.
He's strong. He might not be cut.
Yeah.
He's just got that like, I don't know, thicker frame.
Yeah, you don't have to have muscles to be strong. That's not like,
well, I mean, he had muscles.
No, like muscles like showing,
Exactly.
like you don't have to be muscular to be strong. And stronger than others even, you see those like big guys who are like strong.
Yeah, he doesn't have crazy definition, but he's strong for sure.
Look at the heavyweights.
Yeah.
And like fighting, they're like the peak heavyweights, but they can't be that lean. It's hard to maintain that.
I mean, one of the main shots is like of his back from the, I think they did it in the trailer and then in the movie again. It was like his big ass back looking like fucking Captain America.
It's really cool. I like that. I like his
and I don't know if people, I mean, that's still a body you have to work hard for. Like, he looked well in shape.
Doesn't have a dad body or anything. He has people were critiquing him a bit. I'm like, I think it's pretty good. Like the whole has to have a 6-pack, and like
Right.
Usually those body looks also is a lack of water. The dude lives in water. He's gonna be a little bit bloated. Like that makes sense. Like logistically.
You know what? Good fucking point.
Yeah, like
That's
water
a great
weight.
explanation.
Water weight brings you down to show your muscles. Like you listen to Henry Cavill or like these actors, they're like, oh yeah, Tom Holland, like we don't drink water for 3 days when on shoot because then it's skin tight and you don't have bloatedness. So it's like water weight's a real thing, and if you live in water, like he literally starts dying when you start dehydrating, and that's where he gets the power from. So it's like so he's probably a little bit bloated of water. He has to have body. Well, he retains water in his body probably too. Logistically, that makes sense.
Yeah.
If he was ripped, it would make no sense.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
that's a great explanation.
Yeah.
Shit, good pickup.
Yeah.
How did you feel about Namor overall? Did you like him?
Yeah, I. So this is one thing I like about Avatar.
Did you like him, and how did you feel? Everything resolved with him by the end of the movie.
Okay. So first off,
how that went.
Anytime there's introductions to like native people in a movie, I really fall in love with those type of things. They've done it with Wakanda. Avatar's done it really well, and they create like a lore. I'm a big fan into lores, and if people stick true to that. Then introduction of Namor, like the storyline. I wish there's more explanation, just from like a logistical standpoint of like, why is he the only one who's still like this? No one else is born like that. For like just a nerd in me, like explain that why is the feathers on feet making him fly that way? Like that doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's not big enough to critique. I like how they project him kind of like, the Mayans went away, there was smallpox, all these things, and then we went to the water, which is really cool because there are like historical things about Atlantis, things like this. So I love those type of story lores, and the Mayans are a real thing, right? The Mayan calendar. So all that dope, love it. And then the acting, the way he was portrayed, I enjoyed it. There could have been ways there were a couple ways they could have gone, and I'm not mad about the way they did it and how he ended with him like drawing the Black Panther and him like the two gods fighting and saying like, hey, there's big plans here. Like when they need us, because they will, we'll be the ones to side with them. And he's living forever, so he looks like he's 30 and he's 1400 years old, so he's chilling. He's gonna be there. I'm curious if the whole feather thing is like going to stop him from flying efficiently in the future or not.
Probably not.
Like he'll probably regrow, right?
He'll probably regrow.
Yeah, hopefully.
Definitely.
I think he might retain the scratch mark. But
yes, that's going to be cool. A big point.
Yeah, which would be a cool like remembrance for him. But no, I liked him overall. And again, a god for his people, like trying to do right by everyone. I think it's really commendable.
Yeah, and definitely driven by revenge. Since a kid, I noticed right in the beginning with all the attacks, they were instantly deadly. Like there was no trying to stun their opponent or whatever.
They didn't want to also leave like witnesses. They're like,
no
we
witnesses.
Don't want to,
yeah.
No one should know.
It's true. That's true. I didn't think of it in that way. I just thought that maybe they were more.
I think he wanted nothing to do with the surface world. And the second they started mining and looking, that's when he attacked. He never it looks like attack.
Right. But even though with Wakanda, like just quickly moving into war, just like straight to aggression and not really willing to negotiate or find other solutions, just like
he's
no alternatives, straight to it, war or peace. Like
like, hey, you attacked my people, there's some random people, I'm gonna kill your queen. Like that's my alternative. Like you killed
straight to it. And he was leading by aggression, revenge. That was definitely a huge theme as well throughout the movie.
He was definitely like I think it's like a cultural thing, right? Like there's diplomats, and there's people that historically are very good and diplomatic, and there are people aren't. And the way that felt was like a tribal attack, which there's nothing against it. It's just the way it was. It wasn't like, hey, I gave you an option. No, okay, we're the stronger people. Like we're gonna show you. Which I think was just a tactical error at some point. Like this could have been dealt better.
Definitely
from both
a
sides.
Tactical error.
From both sides, they could have just done this in a better way. Like, hey, I have this problem. It should be a problem for you as well. We both are tied to vibranium, which I wish they explained more to how they both have access to vibranium and no one else does. That'd be an interesting thing.
I think he could have trusted Wakanda to take care of the scientist, aka Riri, and keep that safe and create an alliance rather than jumping to war.
Yeah.
And I think he realized that after. But in the end, he still got what he wanted, which is an alliance with Wakanda in case anything happens, because they're kind of leaning into wanting to do a full-scale war. Like, they're not hesitant to jump into that and just get rid of the surface world.
Yeah. Well, one of the things, too, that like, I loved about X-Men movies was that contingent between, like, the superheroes, the X-Men, and, like, people.
Yeah.
The law enforcement. I think even in Civil War, I kind of like that push, you know?
And which so I think they're gonna lean into even more now. I don't think this will be our first
I think this
jumping into politics. I think we're gonna get it a lot more moving forward.
Well, it makes sense. Like in the real world, if they want to make these movies where they're based in real life, which most of these kind of connect to real life a bit, then you have to like know that we're gonna. Obviously, we know that these things don't exist in real life. We don't have Spider-Man, we have these things, but they still live in the real world. And so you're putting these characters in real world things. So it's like, you can't just have something happen and not showcase like the president or people who aren't worried about it, you know?
Yeah. Grounded in truth, grounded in things that are relatable, you know, questions that real people are asking. Like, what would happen if this really existed
in real life?
Yeah.
Yeah, because people want to imagine that. And so if like if you do a world where like the Hulk can destroy a building and no one's going to bat an eye and talk about it later, like, oh, that's not a real world that I'm used to.
It's just a product of not rushing. There's only so much time that you have on camera to be able to explain stories. And if you're rushing through plots, just trying to show more action sequences and really just make more sequels and not stopping to tell the narrative of the people who are living in these worlds and what it's truly going to cause to this hero's day-to-day life, knowing that, you know, the world wants to wage war on him and stuff like that. So it's them taking the time, going through this saga. We've talked about it in the beginning. This multiverse saga is just a long stretch of content. Yeah. And they're really, really stretching out their vision here and making sure that they're taking time to see the world post Endgame and fledge all those stories out as much as they can. Because this might be the last opportunity that we have, because in Secret Wars, King Dynasty, we might lose this Earth and they might restart it. That could be the third saga, I think. With
Fantastic Four and everything else. Kind of tying in and Doctor Doom.
Yep.
Could be interesting.
I think they could go that direction.
Yeah, they're already introducing X-Men too then. Should be interesting.
Yeah.
One of the things too, when you we were watching it, and I think you even mentioned it, the tech from like that water tech they were using, like explosions and stuff, super cool to see, and super cool that they like opted for like slow motion moments.
Yeah,
great choice in this film.
Yeah, like, I remember leaning next to you when like the third or fourth one that they had done. I was like, dude, wonderful choice to make.
Slow mo. Yeah, I was looking at it too. I was like, it's great because you can see the motions and the.
As far as cinematography goes, they don't do much slow motion in the MCU. And they might do it in certain sequences, but not that slow.
Yeah, this was consistent.
Yeah, and I liked that it always happened when they did like the water grenades and the water attacks. It
Makes
really
sense.
felt how powerful the water is. Because in a certain way, if you shoot it, like how would water be threatening? Yeah, but in mass amounts and crazy amount of speed, like that'll fuck you up.
Yeah, pressure wise, like I mean, they use water to cut through metal, but in the day to day, I look at water. It's from a sink, it's from a shower.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how those water grenades look if they don't do slow mo.
Yeah,
it might not look as
scary. It's like, oh, you just got people wet. Like, oh, you threw a water balloon. Big, scary.
Exactly.
Like,
they made it a point to be like, hey, this shit's fucking crazy. Like people are getting knocked out.
Yeah. It
was just a great touch in the middle of the action sequences. Just slow it down and like catch your eye in the IMAX. Man, that screen was beautiful yesterday.
Yeah.
It was a little bit off to the side. Fam got some great seats, unfortunately, because I thought you slid down all the way to the end.
No, I picked. So the story was we had 11 through like 18 or something like that, 11 through 16, whatever. And then I went in first and I went for the number I like. So I picked 13. I liked the number 13. So I sat at the number 13 and then everyone sat like to my left.
Yeah.
as if I was the last person in line.
Yeah.
And then like some people came like, those are our seats, and they're like, oh really? And then Bam and his girlfriend V like, oh, we have to go down here. And it's like, yeah. It's like, I'm sorry, I thought you went all the way down. I'm like, no. I like picking, the number like.
Yeah.
So yeah, I screwed everyone's like skip.
Yeah,
So then
and
he
then
sat like all the way to the side. And I was like, oh, my bad.
Yeah, and I was in the middle,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then we found out that because we're in the wrong seats, they had to move, so they moved to the.
Yeah.
And then I got the furthest seat on the left.
Still a good view though, right?
Still a good view. I
Yeah.
don't know what the IMAX with lasers was. It felt like a regular IMAX.
Yeah, I don't know what the difference was.
Yeah.
Did you mention it was like a laser thing on it?
We went an extra hour away to go to a theater with
Yeah, so
IMAX.
he picked this
with
movie theater.
lasers, because that's what it said. It didn't
this
say
movie-
just IMAX.
No, so he picked this. So he picked this movie a couple weeks ago. I was okay. We're gonna get this one that has lasers and everything. I'm like, cool. By the time I'm getting here, we're like, where is it? Methuen? I'm like, Jesus Christ, that's like a 45-minute drive from your house. That's like almost New Hampshire. He goes, yep, but it has a laser thing. So I'm like, oh, okay. If we're gonna drive this far, it has to be dope. Get into it, watch it. I'm like, well, it's pretty
Still
average.
great.
It's still pretty average though. It's pretty much.
It was an IMAX.
Yeah. It was pretty
Yeah,
much just
unfortunate.
Yeah.
Next time you come, we have to go to my favorite theater, which is right here on Jordan's Furniture on Route 9.
I've been on Jordan's,
Framingham. That's my favorite theater in Massachusetts.
Have you ever done the 4D ones?
Yeah, where it shakes and
Yeah.
like water.
And
I've done
smells.
it at Universal Studios.
No, but have you done the ones for like an actual movie
No,
at the
never,
movie theater?
never.
I have.
You have?
Yeah.
For what?
I've done it for. Get this, is funny because it's Universal Studios. I did it for Fantastic Beasts. Where to Find Them. The Harry Potter one, well, the Harry Potter universe one.
Yeah.
I think Fast and the Furious.
So that's where they have it at Universal, huh?
No, this was at the movie theater here, like here up north. I think
Really?
it was up north. I don't even think it was in Florida. They have them at some of the AMC's or Regal cinemas, or they always have like the XD ones, and then certain movies they'll do it. So like,
I need to experiment more. Have you ever done the one with the 3 screens? That's like,
no, that one
one's
sounds cool.
yeah.
I've done bowling movies, which is fun. I've done drive-ins. I've done the XD ones, and real movies. I've done a few type of movies like scenarios. I love going to an old cinema
Cinema.
because it's cheaper,
Yeah.
it's cuter,
Yeah.
and it's like I feel in tune. Like,
But the
also,
sound
honestly,
always sucks.
I'm not as picky as most people are. Some people are very picky. Like, I want
very
this
picky.
IMAX and all this. I'm like, kind of like, I just want to watch the movie.
Nope.
To be honest.
Nope. I've talked about this on stream multiple
I don't know.
times.
You care about this?
It's about the mood.
I know,
What are you looking to achieve? Some movies at home, some movies at
I
a
had this guy in my house
drive-in,
once.
some-
He brought his projector. This whole thing. I'm like trying to just watch a movie. I had popcorn ready to go. Dude took like 45 minutes to make sure it was set up the way, like, and he was changing the balance and stuff. And I was like, bro, it looks.
No, I don't do that at someone's
No, he was there
house.
like he's like, it looks better, right? You can see them. I'm like, dog, it looks the same. It's an image. We're watching Elf. This isn't like we're not watching a pristine film. We're watching Elf, bro. Like,
Hey man, he's passionate.
nah, dude, I was so mad. I was like, I just want to watch the movie. Dog. Fireplace is already getting down. I throw more wood on the fireplace. Like, trying to watch a Christmas movie. Like, we're not gonna grade you on your cinematic expertise here. Like, just play the freaking movie. But no, I mean, like, I don't know. I sacrifice a lot of those things just to enjoy like the.
No, I get
movie
you.
itself.
I get you.
I do enjoy food at the movies. It's just that food's so expensive at the movies.
Yeah, I was gonna get popcorn.
And then you didn't want
And
to pay
by the way-
$35 and wait.
Yeah, and I wanted to tell them that I had to pee like 15 minutes in, 20 minutes in.
yeah.
I knew I was fucked, dude.
We-
I
we-
peed right before we went in.
Yeah.
But I sat down. I'm like, I don't know if I'm empty.
I got some more in my tank.
Yeah, it just didn't feel like perfectly clear. And,
And
like
then all
10
those
minutes
images
later,
of water.
Exactly.
You see that? Whoosh, you're like,
I was like, I gotta go to the fucking bathroom after that third water grenade.
Neighbor does the little water thing, and you're like, well, I gotta go right now.
Right now, dude.
Oh,
And I'm glad I got it over with early. I knew I didn't want to try and hold it and suffer.
I think
and
we
then-
didn't buy like a drink. My downfall is I I'll go to the movie theaters, and I'll get like a big popcorn. I get those big
Yeah.
jugs
Yeah.
of like I usually do like a cherry Coke or a cherry Sprite. I'll sit down and I'll finish that drink in the movie, and then it'll be like 2 hours in, an hour and a half in, like towards the end, important parts.
Mm-hmm.
I have to go to the bathroom so bad. I don't know if I can hold this, and I'm just running. Yeah, it's very classic. I'll go at least once during a movie and just book it to the bathroom and get out. It's very few times I can go to sit through a movie. I went too, not too long after, but I was just trying to wait for like the calmest time. There's actually an app or like a website. You can look up the movie and it tells you the best time to go to the bathroom.
What?
Yeah.
Is that what you did during the movie?
Yeah. I had to go really badly.
Did you check on the chart how my time was? Did I pick the right time?
No, I didn't even care.
What do you think? Do you think I picked the right time?
Yeah. When you came back, it was like nothing happened. It was really like a flying over scene.
That's what I was
cinematography. So I was like,
that's what I was waiting for. I was waiting for the B-roll.
Yeah.
Once the B-roll started coming, constantly,
I thought I could wait. I thought I could hold it. I was like, I got this. I'm not gonna go at all.
Dude, when we were at the restaurant right before and I saw like 2 hours and 39 minutes or whatever, I was like, no, we're fucked.
But I went before, so I was like, oh no, I got this. And then I was like, no, I'm gonna pee.
Yeah, I've been pretty bad lately. I had to pee during Batman too.
Really?
Yeah, that was rough. I picked a good time too. I picked the time where the scene from the car accident into the funeral. I was I saw this in the trailers.
You got most of it.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's always tough. I like the movie theater, but I also love watching movies in my house because I have full control.
I do too. Going an hour, never again. You know, like I'm good with the IMAX here. I definitely don't want to be doing that again.
But I like doing it at my house. Like I can eat the way I want.
For sure.
Chill the way I want.
But I don't like it for big events. Like this didn't really feel as eventful as early. There were some claps in our theater.
Yeah.
But
out of respect,
absolutely. I think if we had seen it in Boston or even the IMAX here on opening night, that's when I like to go for big Marvel movies. I like when the audience is like screaming, yelling, and clapping.
What's your next?
It's very fun.
What's your next movie you think that's big enough?
Quantumania is going to be pretty big.
Yeah. Kang.
Kang appearing. I assume we'll get a big round of applause when he approaches if we get a good theater. Thursday night. I'm getting those tickets day one. I'm not waiting for that. That's a big movie. We've been waiting for Kang to show up in a movie for the first time. I've been itching, man.
And he looks dieseled out, bro. He's going to be a menace.
He's got muscles on muscles on muscles on
bro,
muscles.
His face looks like his face has more muscles than my entire body, bro. Like those cheekbones are pointy, dog. Like
we were talking about it in Creed.
Well, because I saw for Creed 3, I was like, holy crap, bro.
And Michael B. Jordan is not small.
Yeah.
But he looks small.
Oh, he looked tiny, bro.
Next to him.
I think he said that one of his lines, he goes, I still got some gas in my tank. I'm like, nah, you got diesel, bro. You're full diesel, dog. Jesus Christ, I'm scared.
Yeah, he's
like,
huge.
I'm like, no, Creed's dying in this movie. Like, he's just not making it out alive in that. He's going to get wrecked by him.
Yeah,
there's no way he wins. A fight against him? That dude's just an ox.
Not gonna lose.
He's an elk. No, he's gonna lose.
And he's gonna win.
We were talking about this. He's gonna die like his daddy. Like Apollo.
Damn, that'd be fucked up.
It would be a great like bold move from a franchise.
Nah, that would destroy the franchise.
You think so?
Where do you go after that?
You follow him. You follow that guy, whatever his name is.
Oh, you tell like the villain boxing story.
I mean, he's a villain. He's a villain to some, but a hero to others. He went to jail for, apparently from the trailer, he went to jail for something that it wasn't his fault.
And then he killed someone
that he should have gone to jail for. He gets the big life. The other guy was more into boxing anyways. That's what he said. He's like, I kept in shape during jail. So he lost out on his boxing dream to go to jail for his friend, who then took his dream, became the boxing champion. And now he comes back, fights him to the point where he dies. Well, not just murders him, fights him to the point where he loses by like, hey, you can't keep up so much that I beat you so hard that you died in the ring. Yeah. And now I'm the champion, and now it's my story.
I would be crazy.
It's such a ballsy move that I feel like they wouldn't do it. It's too. They try to be more safe.
I think people like Michael B. Jordan too much.
Oh no, I would love it. John's married.
It might work out like with Kang rising up, and then he becomes the villain who takes over that movie series. That'd be a ballsy move.
Oh, dude, it'd be such a.
I
great
don't
move.
think executives have that much balls though.
No, they don't.
They don't, bro. Pussies.
That'd be a great way to do it, though, right?
Great way to do it. in our universe, that movie came out.
Even more about like great move. It's so they already like whatever his movie would be called. Just call it like Mayors. Like the Creed saga's end. Stay tuned for 2024 for the Mayor's for the Mayor's era. Like that would be such a dope way of doing it. Like whatever his name is in the movie, I don't know. But like end it with saying like the Creed era's done. He did the trilogy. Like we'll be back in 2024 for this new trilogy.
It would do shit, dude. I think it would do shit numbers.
I think it would do amazing numbers.
It would do numbers, but not
you think?
Creed 4. with them having a rematch, because that's what it's gonna be.
Nah.
Who's directing it? Who's writing it?
Directing.
They might have passed it off because Coogler's not doing it anymore, right?
No.
I think Michael B. Jordan took over.
How do you stay stuck on this thing? I can't do it.
Just sitting normally. No,
I'm sliding.
yeah, dude, you're struggling.
Maybe it's because I sit too laxed. I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe you need the second pillow because it's kind of giving me like this,
like zone.
Yeah, I'm kind of tucked in here. We could take a little quick break.
No, I'm looking at pillow. There we go. Okay.
How we doing back there, fam? If you didn't know, fam is behind the monitor.
Yeah, this is a behind the scenes podcast look, How you like the setup?
I love it, man. I'm very happy with it.
Yeah.
I can't wait till we have a little bit more in here. I want to have it'd be cool to have a sign for you over there. One that says Saint Leo or something like that. Maybe have like the Atlas flag on my side. Be cool.
Yeah.
Looks cool in here. I'm happy about it.
Yeah, it's a cool vibe, man. I like it.
It's something to keep building on,
Yeah. I like also seeing like the other perspective of like, hey, that's where you're usually at.
Yeah.
Doing your stream. And now here's like the
other side.
The other side of it. I think it's kind of cool. Damn. Yeah, I'm interested. If Namor comes back, if he's gonna fight, if Shuri's gonna become part of anything.
Yeah.
They didn't really announce her as queen as much.
No. It didn't look like she was interested enough to be there. Looked like M'Bato.
Yeah, and then he was going to fight for like the thing to be. Remember at the end, like the fighting scene, where he was like the Black Panther is unavailable.
Yeah.
So I'll be fighting the place, and I'm like,
yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Interesting way. I mean, I've always liked his character. I also like that actor. He's in a couple of things, but he was right when he came out with this. Then he was in Us by Jordan Peele. I really like him as an actor. I really
like him too. I think they're gonna set up. They mentioned it, having T'Challa, Prince T'Challa. The future is probably to immortalize T'Challa's name as Black Panther and bring him up again to be the king. And he might be like a part of, or maybe a leader in the Young Avengers if they do a little fast forward. And he could be a really young Black Panther. Who knows?
Yeah.
Because I think that was very intentional to make sure that we keep T'Challa alive in the universe somehow. Big investment, like Marvel always does.
Quick random thought idea.
Talk to me.
Okay. Imagine living in the Marvel world, right? You've seen all these things and you know all the lores, and you have the resources. Wouldn't it be like the ultimate OP is like move is you go to Wakanda, get the herb, eat that.
Yeah.
Boom. You get the Black Panther powers.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Go to freaking Namor's area, eat that plant that has the vibranium, you get the Wonder powers. And maybe flying or whatever mutant powers you might get. Boom. Find whatever thing that bit Peter Parker, get bit by that. Take every single
it would just become like an ultimate.
Yeah. Like the superhero serum, take that. Like we already have some superhero soldiers from Falcon Winter Soldier. You have like all these type of power-ups, right? If you're able to just collect those and actually take them, surprised we haven't seen more of that. Like the most we saw with that was the Infinity Stones. Yeah. And never really showcased like that becoming like their new power-up type of thing, I think that would be cool.
Yeah, I think that would be cool.
Kind of like in a video game. In a video game, you get a power-up and now you can do this. And now you wield it a bunch. And then you get this and you wield it a bunch.
Yeah.
They don't really showcase that in these as much.
It might become a problem in the future.
Yeah.
I think as we keep moving forward, we're going to find out about a lot of mutants becoming mutants in a bunch of different ways, whether it's stealing like certain serums or doing that. There could be a lot of new ways that we find out because they're going to have to explain a lot of them.
Deadpool, which is going to be the first MCU film now under Marvel 3, and it has Wolverine in it. Yeah. Confirmed. So that should be really cool.
That'll be interesting how they explain that. I hope that they do something substantial to make it feel like it's worth it, because it could easily just feel like
forced.
They broke all the rules to make a movie and then it doesn't have the same weight. So hopefully they apply some rules to it to make it seem worth it, because I don't want Deadpool to feel like it's just I know it's Deadpool 3, but it's also the beginning of something new for him.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want it to feel just like cameo, quick little story, and then breaking all the rules. Like, I hope it somehow ties into the MCU and has some cool connections to build onto in the future. Because is Wolverine, are we gonna have Logan for a few movies? Are they just gonna kill him off? Like, one hit and then get him out? I just don't know if it's worth it unless there's a plan for him. I would have much rather them get a new Wolverine.
Yeah, there's some good contenders for new.
It could have been the girl. I wish they took the girl from Logan. She should be the new Wolverine. Why not? If you're gonna do that,
be interesting to play.
That was the setup after Logan, essentially, for her to take it over.
But he already did that. But we haven't had Wolverine in the MCU, and Wolverine's an iconic.
But I'm saying, if you're doing that thing,
where you're connecting old ones,
where you're connecting the other universe, that might have been a more proper direction to go in, and let Logan die the way that he died. But I know that they're doing the multiverse thing and breaking all the rules.
Yeah, I mean, they had Patrick Stewart come up,
So it makes sense, but I hope it makes sense beyond just this movie, and it doesn't feel like a Doctor Strange kind of thing where it's just cameos and then they're out of here.
True.
No Way Home could end up setting up things. So could Doctor Strange. We might see these characters again, and it was really just a glimpse. Hopefully there's more to it, and it's not just the whole cameo splurge just to, get the views. And I know that they're trying to build something for Secret Wars and have a million heroes, but.
True. I'm interested. So let me ask you this: were you a big X-Men fan so far?
Big X-Men fan. I didn't like the movies as much. I rewatched them again recently.
I enjoyed them a lot growing up.
Yeah, growing up, I was a little iffy on them. There was ones that I liked more than the others. I liked, I think the third one and
Last Stand.
Yes, and I think it was Last Stand. I really loved Logan. Logan was incredible. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I didn't connect to them as much.
Okay. Do you have so for example, one of my favorite villains.
I love certain characters.
Yeah, one of my certain favorite villains and character is Magneto. I love Magneto. I also love that he's the dad to, which I'm interesting how they could connect that, and if they bring him in ever, he's technically Scarlet Witch. And what's his face, Pietro's dad, right? So it's interesting how the if they will connect it. But I love the story, like how he's only the one Jewish superheroes that I know of, at least, and it shows him in Auschwitz and those type of things. I love that storyline. Yeah, I love his character. I love how they did the young version of him and showing his pain and all that stuff. I love what they do with him, and I would really be excited to see him in the MCU. Especially given the memes that show the reason why they haven't brought him in yet. Have you seen that? No. It's the real reason why Marvel won't bring him in, and it's they plop him in, and it's Captain America comes and stars him. Just zoom. Oh, sweet, and just has a shield they can control, and then it's Iron Man, Thor. OP. Yeah, he's almost all these characters are bound by metal. Yeah.
Which Marvel has done a good job of making sure they nerf heroes in a certain way to make them a part of the universe still, because really there's a lot of characters that don't make sense in a lot of scenarios. Thor should be able to just really kill everyone any time. We've talked about this. Most people, yeah. There's certain characters that should be way more OP, but I definitely nerf characters
more than they actually heighten their skills. Because in Marvel,
for sure,
in the comics, there have been multitude of deaths and restarting of Earths. In the movies, there hasn't. Yeah. So they have to kind of play things out the way they should.
But I think if you're going to do a lot of heroes, that's the way to do it. Is slowly over time include a little bit stronger. That way you can heighten the stakes. At first, you can't just have someone who's a world destroyer. You got to build towards that.
Well, yeah, because then what's the next hero?
Exactly, and then it's how high can you go? Yeah. I mean, with Marvel, there's a bright future if they keep going slow. We can do Galactus So, which they've been doing, thankfully.
Seems like a good play. I like it, and you can still feel intrigued with stories like this, where it's not yet he's destroying the world. It's just a fight internally.
Yep, and I'm glad that I wanted to say earlier that I'm glad that they're getting back into mature themes, going back to the theme thing, because I know that a lot of their audience now has grown with them over 10 years, and I think it's important to be talking about mature topics for most of their fan base.
Yeah.
An audience who is really supporting them and keeping this thing alive. Not that it needs to be kept alive, because it's still thriving for the most part. You know, some people aren't as exactly happy as they were before with this phase, but you know, there's still a lot of fans and people running to see the new thing and where they're headed.
Yeah, I like it. I like when it's also not preachy. And I think that certain movies have done that, and they could have done that for, in a way, like,
but preachy's not deep. Like,
it's not deep. It's not like, it doesn't connect somewhere deeper. Where this way, I was like, they could have done that here.
You have to show it through the actions in the movie.
Yeah, and that's what they did here. Caring for people, doing this. Like,
you have to earn it through what the character is doing. What are their actions through the movie? You can't just say deep things and it's deep.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, this made me feel like more excited for the females of the MCU way more than She-Hulk did, unfortunately. Like, just because what it was portraying wasn't that. This is like, wow, this shows true women leadership without having to like preach on it or remind people. Like, they could have done the queen and like, I'm just a woman, how am I supposed to do this? Or they could have done a thing where it's like questioning their right to rule because they're women. They didn't do that once. Like, they just knew, no, they're badasses. There's no need to explain that. No need
to.
Like,
through their actions, just be badass. And I will feel like you're badass. Don't tell me you're badass without proving it. And I feel like they've done that with a lot of characters through the MCU. Captain America is a great way of just, through their actions, show me that he's heroic, show me that he's humble, show me that has a heart of just purity. You know, we knock on him for being so pure at times, but he's earned that label through his actions, not just saying that he's, you know,
even like when he picked up Mjolnir, and then they kind of hinted at it in the beginning where he like budged it. They could have just done it like, oh, you must be worthy then. Like, you know, it was kind of just like, I knew it. Like, it was. And
they say that in the moment that he knew that he could have lifted the hammer at that time, but he didn't, out of respect for Thor. Like, that's something that I really believe that could have been possible. What makes Captain America at the later point more honorable and more worthy than at that point in Ultron? He's definitely learned a lot, but he's still the same heart, character, hero that he was then. So I think at that moment he nudged him and was like, you know what, I don't need to put on a show. Like, he's a humble character. So yeah, and Shuri, this is technically, in a way, really her origin story, because we've seen her in the MCU, but we haven't really spent time to see who she is and her beliefs and how she operates through these deep and tragic moments.
Even her like really fighting, getting to fight.
Getting to fight, exactly.
Because she used the little power-ups in the first movie at the end of the battle, but she didn't have like a suit or anything, so this was really cool. And I don't know if this was always the plan for her, but we've said it a few times already today. It's just the setups. You know, we knew that when we were first introduced to Shuri that there was a plan there for her, because they had hinted at her being more or smarter than Tony Stark, and we knew that Wakanda coming in is going to be a big player. So they've been setting her up to have a more important role. I don't know if she was always intended to be the Black Panther, but I'm happy it worked out. I'm happy that she is. And touching on Reeve, like her being Ironheart, that subtlety where, it's almost corny, but it's fun. Like that they did, like her cutting out the heart in the sheet metal and hitting it, but then it was like, the way you ruin that is then be like, oh, an iron heart. Like, if they say that, it's ruined. Right. He ruined it. Right. But the fact they didn't do that, just did that sort of cool. I liked her character. Her like Iron Man-esque stuff. Even when they saw it, I was like, oh, this is Stark tech. It's like, no, that's like my own. But so many nods to all of the Iron Man movies was just really heartwarming to see, especially from a longtime fan seeing those movies originally in theaters, to know that I understand the references and they mean more to me than just watching them at a later time. Like, I really was in the theater seeing Tony create his armor for the first time, and certain angles of him when we first saw it in the trailer of him being able to shoot his rockets from the bottom of his foot. And it turned into that Riri kind of had something similar. So there were certain shots, and even of her going to the highest altitude and then losing oxygen. Tony did that as well in Iron Man 1, I'm pretty sure. So all of the nods were just beautiful, and I'm glad that they did that, because you have to honor
the stories before you and the characters before you, especially with Marvel, who is so community based and people want to feel like these characters are respected and not just, we want consistency.
Yeah.
We don't want just some bullshit. Like, honor the stories that you've told and make sure that the future generation who finds out about Ironheart knows that she is there because of what Iron Man has done. You know, Iron Man started this entire universe.
Yeah.
And many people would have bet on Iron Man and Robert Downey Jr. in 2008 and Jon Favreau directing it. Like, it's just great that we continue to honor Iron Man, and it still leaves the room for him to come back potentially, you know, and have a setup for him in Secret Wars cameo or something like that.
Yeah. Or I like the idea, the theory after that was like he could be an AI that interacts with his daughter later.
Yes. I've been hoping they do that.
That'd be a good play.
Immortalize him and then make him the AI for like the future of the MCU. There's certain people that need to be immortalized in the MCU. Iron Man will be one. And I think T'Challa will be
for
the
least
other
for
one.
the Wakandans like side of things, if not, maybe not the whole universe, but especially like Wakandans. 100%. He's always going to be referenced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we should see probably his portrait in the streets, like in every movie.
Yeah, like they show Iron Man, and then I like that they showed like the painting in the city. That shot of that was really nice too.
Yeah, great touch.
Yeah, it was cool. It's cool what they're doing. I like the plays. I like setting up the new world. And like we've said, like it's cool if you do all this and you restart and tell a different story. That's cool too. But like the fact that we're getting more. And it seems like now we can start moving forward. It seems like more and more movies are going to move forward, especially with Ant-Man, versus, hey, this is what we missed in the blip, which a lot of these things have been, which is fine because it makes sense. It's like we kind of needed that.
It's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Like, let's go and let's talk about a few things and address some things while we're moving forward.
Yeah. I even liked when they mentioned it here, like when the, you know, after the fight with Thanos and after the snap, like, you know, this happened and this happened. I liked
Thanos actually is another one who's being immortalized. He's shown up in everything. Yeah. What If? He's dropped in shows. He's dropped in movies, and I'm so thankful for it because we have to feel the ripple effect.
I wish we had a prequel movie about him, just like the Mad Titan. I wish it was some of that. Yeah.
Which is possible if we keep making sure that what he did impacts everything moving forward. It's true, and that it's
canonized. It's like when you watch
not only canonized, but there's things that they can do to make it seem like it wasn't what it was. Like it wasn't that big of a deal, but because they're taking years of making films and content and making sure that the weight is felt, adds to it.
Yeah.
Now that snap even means more because I know there's all of this content that they made after was just a ripple effect, and they'll keep doing it.
They do very well with that stuff too, keeping up with the lores and like promises. They haven't gone to like too much prophecy stuff, but I love that stuff. Like they stay true to things, which
not prophecy, but there has been like dreams. Remember the dream that Thor had, right? About seeing the stones, and then Tony had one about all of them dead.
Yeah, and the things
and Cap's shield cracked, which ended up happening in Endgame.
Yeah. There has been, but like they stuck true with it. It wasn't like they did that and then it was like it wasn't thrown away, which I appreciate because that's one of my pet peeves with like Game of Thrones and other series where they do something, set it up, and just throw it all away.
Yeah.
So good setups here. One thing too, they didn't have a post-credit scene. That was interesting.
Yeah.
It's been in the first films in a while. They only had and the mid scene wasn't even like connecting to anything else. Usually like a mid-credit scene or post-credit scene shows something like to look forward to. Yes, it's showing the sun, but that could have been part of that. Like that was just the same scene, you know, versus being like, you know.
I think it might have been like let's just leave this movie.
Yeah, as it is, like a tribute. Yeah,
a tribute. Let's not use it as an opportunity to do something else. Let it be as it is, and there's other opportunities in the future.
Exactly.
We have Quantumania coming up, and for the most part in the plot we know where things are headed. You could have teased something, but I'm sure that was probably the conversation in the meeting room.
Just respectful. Let's end it with like because it ended like in memory for Chadwick Boseman or something, or for always like a heart, long live like Wakanda, whatever, which is cool. I like that. Also, by the way, fire move, like the little shark. Literally, I was like, baby shark, dude.
It reminded me of the Kamehameha in Dragon Ball. And then I think Fam said Hadouken.
Hadouken. Imagine how crazy of a character that would be to like introduce to like a universe.
Hadouken.
Yeah, like the guys from
the guy who does Hadouken.
Yeah, like just that, or like I saw this thing with super off track, man, Jesus Christ. But I saw this thing where it was like Goku versus Superman, and like Superman kills things, and it's like this ruined my faith in all like superheroes. And he just does like the little, and then takes him off to a planet that's not on Earth, so he has no sunlight, and just wrecks him.
Yeah,
and he goes, like just destroys him. And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty much what would happen.
I know a way that this can tie in though, because we haven't talked about this yet. Is James Gunn taking over at DC?
Oh yeah,
and the ability.
He called Kevin Feige first. You saw that? He said the first person I called and told was Kevin Feige.
So the closest person to him in this situation is someone who runs Marvel Heroes, and he's about to go run DC Heroes.
Yep.
We talked about this recently.
They're going to set this up.
They're setting it up.
5 or 10 years from now?
I think 7 to 10 years they could do it.
Yeah, I think in 5 or 10 years, they'll set up these next stages. They'll have a discussion, and they're like, how can we make a collab? And you know what I think they'll do? The way I think they'll do it is they'll do small things. Like right now, they've already mentioned Superman, I think in Eternals. They mentioned that it exists. Like, oh, you're like Superman. And it's like, with Icarus. It's like, no. But yeah. So Superman exists. And so I think Marvel's doing the first pushes, and they're going to push it like in some of the movies, they're going to mention Batman or something like that. And then
it's possible. Oh, so you think MCU will set up the seeds first and then kind of like bring DC along? I mean, that's really the smart move, because if DC's the one that's pushing towards that narrative, I don't think that's the move, because they don't have that respect yet from their audience. They have
Marvel
to build
likes
their own
Marvel
thing.
Comics. Like I think Marvel people, like the heads there, Kevin Feige, all them, like the comics and are like true nerds. So now you have James Gunn there, who has a great relationship, has done Guardians of the Galaxy, has done great movies, has done some of the best DC movies, like with the Suicide Squad, not the first one, the second one. And I think that they add it in like funny ways to like soften the pitch, kind of like what they did with mutants and with like variants, soft little things, and then serious. I think they do a couple soft things, Batman reference here, this thing, something there, and then pretty soon it's like hard core, like merge of worlds, Avengers, merge of worlds, something crazy, whatever title it is, maybe one from the comics or whatever, DC versus Marvel, and it's a collaborative film, and then it's like literally like Black Adam and Superman type thing idea that they're doing, where it's we don't know who each other are, we're both kind of heroes, but we're fighting because who the hell are you? Who the hell are you? You know?
Yeah.
That would be really cool. And I think that they could set it up. Imagine Henry Cavill versus freaking Hulk, or freaking taking a punch from like,
they could do it. I think DC just has to worry about their own movies, take it one movie at a time, have a plan based on where you want to take the narrative within your universe. And like you said, I think have Marvel lead the way and create opportunity for you guys to bring your stuff in. But for right now, if I'm Feige and we're even having these conversations, because who knows? I think they're thinking it. I don't know if they've talked about it yet. Yeah. But if I'm Feige and this imagination conversation happens, I'm telling him, build your thing. And if we just keep doing what we're doing, we're going to have an opportunity here in the next decade to do something very, very special. No, don't let that make you a little bit nervous. So with there's a lot on the line, but just you have the heroes, you know how to do it. You've worked with this before. You're a great writer, great director. You know how to build this thing. You've been under my wing for so long, as far as me being an executive producer on these films. Just build it, and then we can do something crazy. Yeah, I'm so excited about that. It's to think that this is really a possibility. And even if that doesn't happen, I'm already excited. Just James Gunn's just so good. Yes, no, his projects have been amazing, for sure. Whether it happens or not, I'm still very excited and happy. But I think there's a real, like we've talked about, there's a real pathway now, because before we didn't have this idea. We have been talking about for how long that DC needs to find a new executive for a new direction, creative direction, storytelling. They need to map this thing out. and have someone who's passionate, who cares, and who understands, or at least has been nearby the people who have been successful at it. And there's only one, and that's Kevin Feige. And now we have James Gunn. And this is really coming to fruition.
Yeah.
I'm very excited, dude. I'm very excited.
Extremely excited of how they're going to play it out. I wonder how it'll end up being, but if I get to see that day with a DC and Marvel hero fighting each other, I know that like my kids are gonna be happy. I'm gonna be, if it's like by the time I have kids, yeah, it's gonna be a lot of explaining, a lot of stuff to catch up on,
a lot,
and that's gonna be a thing where it's like, hey, we need to do this as an event. Like, we need people. Like this is, I'm excited for that. I'm excited to feel good. I like the movie. Yesterday it was good. It was a good experience. It was respectful to Chadwick, but I have yet to feel again the Endgame feel. And I think maybe Ant-Man Quantumania might give me that feeling. I don't know. I'm
not sure because I don't really like how they're introducing the plot about it. I mentioned this in my stream and I haven't talked to you about it yet, but I complained about how they brought in the other Spider-Man in No Way Home. I didn't feel like the whole direction of Peter wanting his name to not be remembered and then having Doctor Strange wipe everyone's memory. I didn't feel like that's a thing that would be logical to get to. Like, how would Doctor Strange even consider that? Why would we even create those possibilities and stakes? That's so reckless. I don't know if that's a great reason to head in this direction. Same thing with Quantumania. If you saw in the trailer, it's like, oh no, you created a portal for us to talk to the quantum realm when there's someone in the room who's been to the quantum realm. Like, it's just a stupid thing to do. Like, why would you just open up connection to an entire universe that you know exists down there and send out a signal? You know what I mean? It just feels like silly the way that we're entering into these new narratives. Like, I just feel like we could have better reasons on how we're going to get to Kang and Quantumania. Oh, we created an accidental portal. Oh no, we got sucked in. We have to go to the,
like, instead of like, okay.
I feel like there could be a little bit more of a justified reason.
More of an intelligent, justified reason instead of like, rather than we messed up.
Oh no. Problem. Zoinks, solution. Wow, it's convenient that Kang lives here. You know, it's just, can we get to it with a little bit more, you know, with a little bit more setup. I just don't feel like the setups are that, the foundation isn't really strong.
True. I get what you're saying.
You know, alternatively, if I were to think of like a pitch right now, I'd have to think about it. How would they go back into the quantum realm? I think maybe as simple as, what was her name? Janet?
The mom?
Janet Van Dyne? Is that her name?
Yeah, something like that.
Tells Ant-Man what he saw.
Oh, what she saw
down there. And maybe that there was something that she's worried about and wants to tell him and inform Ant-Man and the Avengers that there's a universe down there that exists and what are the threats, and have that be more of like an issue that they're monitoring. And then as they're monitoring, something comes up, they go to address it. Kang has now found a way to enter into the reality. Like, I don't know, you know, something that seems a little bit more logical to get into. For them to just keep making these just accidental mistakes.
Like, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, like mistakes where it's like, yeah, I get that. Do you think, say for example, like, okay, it's a daughter who does it, right? More so like she messes with something while helping them studying it. But then it's still a mistake. They mistakenly get in. I don't know how they logically do that unless they were like intentionally going in. Like, how do you get past that? I think it's like a real like problem to them to think like, okay, we know we want to get, the end goal is to get them with Kang in the quantum realm. How can we do that? Like, I think the only way you do that is by mistake on their part. Like, how else are they going to get there? Do you follow?
Yeah.
I see you're like,
but I don't like that the way that they keep ripping these different timelines into pieces are just based off accidents.
Yeah, true.
All of them have been, right?
Yeah, a lot of them have been accidents.
Or just stupid decisions, like freaking what's her name killing Kang. Sorry, I love her. What's her name?
Not Elfie. Sylvie.
Sylvie killing Kang.
Yeah.
Then Doctor Strange.
The Doctor Strange thing, I honestly truly believe that they were going to have an evil Strange or Wanda be him in that moment. And that's why he acted so weird and did the spell he did. That's what I thought it was going to be. because that would make sense, because then he's not acting smart. Like, he's the Sorcerer Supreme and doing kind of some stupid things. Like, even him going to Wanda and freaking Multiverse of Madness, I was kind of like, the way he was acting, I was like, dude, did you lose your pep in your step? Like, you went from the guy who was like only one option.
That's what I'm saying. I just feel
who knows
like
all these things, can do all these things, and just kind of making some dumb mistakes.
It's the way that they're flowing into these narratives. Like, what are their reasons for pushing the universe in this direction?
Even like when the She-Hulk thing started, I was like, you just conveniently get in an accident and the blood pours into her, and that's what it's from comic books, so I guess it's like gonna be cheesy because the comic books are cheesy. So if you want to like,
yeah, but that's not a justifiable reason. Like, Marvel knows how to make deep, emotional and logical content.
It's just tough, man. Like, that's, I guess I
just don't want them to skip by it, like,
I get it.
Let's spend the first 25 minutes to just doing oopsies so that we can get the movie to this point. I don't know. I feel like there's a different way to tell the story. There's gotta be, man.
I wonder how they would do it. I guess maybe the only way is, again, I keep on thinking like they're going to study the quantum realm and by mistake end up in there. That's the only thing that comes to mind.
Yeah. It seems like what's happening now is, now that I think about it, the first decade was almost like an invasion onto Earth. Right? All of these people with powers coming to, there's some that we had local. And now it seems like we are meddling into space and into the galaxy. I think like, and now we are creating the disruption.
Well, even like certain things like technology, like the beginning phases were the buildup of like Stark tech, of Wakandan tech, of the Kukulkan tech, like vibranium. And then we're starting these things out, and then you get an introduction to, we have an introduction to what mutants could be. And then what happens in phase one, like in the beginning phases, now you're seeing like, okay, what are after the Infinity Saga, what are the repercussions of a blip? Okay, these things affected, like geopolitically things, people. They still talk about people being like displaced in their homes from the blip, and then like coming back and there's other people living there. Like, how do you, so it's a shift. So that things have effects and have their things. And so we're only starting to see this, right? We start to see like, okay, what does having these type of like technology and access to things, like we saw that kind of in Spider-Man, where even the first one, where they have like access to alien tech that fell through the fight in New York. And then it's like, okay, you have bad guys now with pulse guns. How's that like progress? You have people copying Iron Man. So you have Ironheart, there's going to be some, you have the Iron Wars, whatever is coming up, the Armor Wars coming up. So that there's going to be people that are also trying to replicate these things. So it's the same thing with like any type of technology. The internet, it's a great tool. Once you start opening up a new thing, it's like it gets invaded by people that can use it wrongly, and different use cases come up. You don't know about it, you can't imagine everything. So I think that the quantum realm, for example, is so new to them that even though they spent time there, it's like they really are playing with fire and not knowing what the things are. So I think the only real way right now is they're so novice at it, honestly, might be by mistake. Like they mistakenly think, oh, we can just contact it. Like, for example, and she might have thought, like, from her perspective, obviously going off the trailers, well, my dad was lost in there by going in there and trying to do stuff. If I can communicate with it, then we can get data without having to go there and without having me to lose my dad. Not knowing.
There's still a way to meddle.
I feel like, but that shows like, if they explain it that way, it's like, okay, her logic was there. She was like, okay, I don't want to be stuck there like my dad was. So I'm just going to communicate. Phone call, per se, like communication. Not knowing what Janet knows.
We'll have to see how it plays out. Maybe there's some dialogue that I'm missing that would explain a little bit more.
But I feel like that's going to happen a lot. Like, I feel like a lot of these are like, even like some of the tech that we see with like, when we watch Multiverse of Madness, Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah.
He uses the portal. Yeah. That's similar to the TVA. Yeah. Which is also similar to the One Who Remains, which would be Kang. And he's a descendant of him. So like seeing like, he's using this, thinking he's a good guy, right? Using tech for the good, not knowing that maybe his universe gives birth to Kang, which it's his tech that started off good, goes bad.
That's such a crazy concept.
It's the same thing with like I think it's like a recurring theme, even like when we saw Tony in the beginning and he saw what his weapons are being used for in real life. And then you see it with the effects in Ultron where Wanda right? Wanda, Scarlet Witch, is saying like, hey, you know, we almost got blown up by a Stark thing, and we were sitting there for days, and then you reveal that she was a witch, so she was controlling it, like stopping it. But it's like, okay, that's Stark tech. Like, it is good, but also bad. You have Zemo and all these things, so you get to see like how it's a ripple effects, and we don't know how it's going to affect and how long that ripple is going to go. And so it's cool to see that them laying out these things. And I think a lot of mistakes will come because it's new tech, it's new stuff.
No, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, you know, so it's like,
no, that makes a lot of
Quantum
sense.
is so new. Like, we really know nothing about it. Us, watchers, and them in the world, they wrote very little. The person who knows the most is probably not said a lot, which is Janet, because she's like lived there. Ant-Man, when he was there, apparently didn't do much from what we've seen. So like Janet's like, oh, I haven't told you something, all these things. So it's like no one else knows what's really going on. So I think that's going to give a lot of mistakes. I think when they start messing with technology, a lot of mistakes. I think Riri in the future will have issues with other Iron Man type conversations. Like I think those things are like, oh, we didn't know this. Now we do.
It's the ripple effect, man. It's the thing that DC needs to work on a little bit better, having more consistency, the ripple effects between movies. Yeah. It really makes it feel like one concurrent story that you want to keep investing in.
Well, you make them like historical events. So it's like, okay, that happened 2 weeks ago.
Right.
So if this movie's taking place in 2 weeks from that, it has to be at least mentioned into some caliber. And there has to be certain effects. Like if that event cut all power logistically, then this movie has to take place with no power, right? Like, or whatever, you know, and keeping that, it's so cool.
Which one thing, now that you're bringing it up, hasn't been shown was what happened with the Eternals.
Very little.
And the Celestial that is in the ocean.
There was only one reference, I think, in either She-Hulk or one of those shows, I think, where it said like in the newspaper, like random statue built in the middle of the ocean.
Right.
There was that one, I think. And then there's another one, I think, in Thor, actually, where they said something about a Celestial, but like it was very quick, but nothing like deep, which would be nice to have a little bit more reference to. But
I wish the Eternals movie kind of added a little bit more weight to the universe so far. I know a lot of people, there's a little bit of a split feeling on that movie. I personally very much enjoyed it. I loved it. Bella loved it too. We saw it together, of course. I wish there was a little bit more weight to what we saw in that movie, but we have to be patient. We know that Marvel's setting it up. I think there was a confirmation that we're going to get a second one, so it's coming.
We should.
Yeah, but I wish that it was kind of affecting a little bit more things. Maybe we could have even seen it be brought up here in this movie with Tulukan and Namor and the ocean, the Celestial.
Yeah, it just literally popped up in the ocean.
There could have been an opportunity there for them to mention that and to tie in Eternals a little bit better.
Like even like the thing of Thanos, like you would imagine that the Namor and his people were affected by half the universe disappearing, that he would have sparked him to get out earlier, or was he blipped for 5 years, or like,
you know? that might have been where they wanted to head when they were bringing in Namor, but I think because the movie had to be based in like trauma and in what we were going through with Chadwick, that there had to be you know, that direction had to be created. Namor had to be dealing with similar trauma and pain and losing people, and that had to be the heart of the narrative. If that didn't happen, Namor might have been introduced differently. It might have been, you know, he mentions Thanos and what happened, and it caused ridiculous problem. Maybe they're also having internal political issues. Like what if he was snapped or something? That could have made a big difference.
Yeah. I like those
shows.
But
unfortunately, I think they probably had to just go, let's lean into this narrative.
Yeah. I really was rooting for him. I am still rooting for him. I think he's a good guy. He wants to take care of his oceans, do stuff like that, and screw the people up top. It's kind of pretty dope. I'm more, I think the villains going forward are going to be really dope for Marvel. And so for me, I'm going to like that. I still have yet to stick to a hero that I really like, though. I don't think there's a hero.
I don't have a new favorite, no.
Hero yet. Yeah, no. I have villains that I love. That's the thing that's saying. Like, I love Kang. Yeah. I like Namor. I've liked the villains. I liked, there was more opportunity with him, but I wish there was more with Gore, the God Butcher. I wish they did some more with him.
Yeah.
Some more.
That was,
but I
unfortunately, he's very forgettable.
Yeah. Because of the way they did it to him. But like that could have been, for me, I like the lore of his, like the way he is, Gore.
Yeah, I've just accepted that Thor movies are like quick comic books.
Yeah,
that's the way that they tell them.
Yeah.
It's just like little adventures.
Guardians of the Galaxy coming up with the Christmas thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that should be interesting. I like it. I think it could be fun too. I just prefer, obviously, some more seriousness for my day to day. The fun ones can come in. It's fine.
They're gonna start heading there for sure. That's where we're headed.
Yeah, Ant-Man seems darker too.
Stuff.
This is a darker Ant-Man too, because the first two Ant-Mans weren't very dark.
The closer we get to Secret Wars, the closer we get to King Dynasty, it's gonna get darker and darker and darker.
Smarter rated films, probably.
Yeah,
as long as they don't make it comical, don't nerf people too much. I'm happy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, well, at least we know you don't hate this Black Panther.
Final rating.
Final rating.
Scale out of 10.
Okay, so I'm gonna do it. Contingency. Okay. Out of films in general, and then
MCU rating.
MCU, also emotional superhero. So, out of films in general, when you include all cinematography, storyline, everything, 8.59. And I think for out of Marvel movies and everything, oh shoot, I want to give it a higher number, but I think it's like a 7 or an 8.
Really?
And all superhero movies that I've seen, like especially just Marvel.
Really?
Yeah. It's not the worst. It's I can't say it's better than first Black Panther. I would have to kind of equate which one to be better. But it was good. But like comparing it to Spider-Man No Way Home, even though I think Spider-Man No Way Home has gone down in my opinion, comparing it to Endgame, Infinity War, all these like top tier movies, I'm like, damn. Civil War, that has like a similar like internal argument thing. Yeah, it's hard for me to give it that high of a ranking. In terms of films, I mean, it's great cinematography, great story, emotional, timely with like what happened because they had to get some time with that. Great actors, portrayals, but still didn't have that weight to me. Like as much as you didn't like Black Panther 1, when I remember Killmonger showing up and then thinking Chadwick was dead, or at the moment he kills the uncle, like there was just some more scenes to it, some more memorable things for me, at least right now, as of now. I think this, in terms of a superhero film, this felt less of a superhero film in some ways. It felt more of like a war film, which is fine. But then I compared that to Civil War. Yeah. And I'm like, Civil War did crush that.
Yeah.
Or Captain America.
No, Civil War is a great example. Winter Soldier is a great example.
Yes, Winter Soldier. Yes.
Eternals is a good example too. Of kind of a little bit different, but
an internal struggle,
internal struggle, serious tone.
Yeah.
I think I definitely have to see it again. I think there's a lot that comes with the emotions that I was feeling.
Yeah.
But I would say that if we're gonna do those two ratings, I would say just as a movie, probably like a 8.5, maybe 8.5, 8.6. For MCU though, I'll put a 9.4.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's in my top 10.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of moments in this movie that I feel like are going to be substantial in the future and are going to be moments that I remember and I feel like were profound and staples in the franchise.
Really?
There's yet to be like a staple movie in this last phase for me. One that like I point to and I'm like, that movie during that phase.
Like Iron Man, then you have like
Civil War,
okay,
Infinity War, like there's time. Guardians 1, there's those movies. And for me, this Black Panther, Wakanda Forever did that.
I see.
And I think it's going to sit with me for a little bit.
Okay.
I think it's unfortunate that, deeper topics and things that are a little bit more of a darker tone stick more. It's unfortunate. It's not like they wanted to make a movie that was based in that, but it's profound, man.
Yeah.
And I think just to see that the actors really had to go through technically an actual funeral scene. They really raised up T'Challa's casket. And to think that those actors are sitting there really imagining him in that casket. Yeah, they're
going through a funeral knowing that someone they worked with in real life died. So it's not like a character death in a series.
They're acting like they're actually doing a funeral.
Death, yeah. Or it's like, for example, in Harry Potter, right? The actor who plays Dumbledore dies. And they replace him, which all you do like the replacement of Dumbledore. And then it's like they just continue on. Same actor or same role still exists. It'd be different if Dumbledore died in the series and then they were also doing this for a long time and became friends, and then so they truly had to deal with like in the storyline, which might have helped them portray that emotion so well.
Definitely.
Where it's like they truly are sad. Like, yes, they're not using a son or a brother, but they're losing a great guy, which from all accounts everyone said good things about forever. Like, he's always been a great dude, so it's like, oh wow, like that's hard. Yeah,
and how much that first movie meant. He's just iconic in many ways, and so yeah, I would say 9-4. I'm gonna put it in my top 10. I gotta look at my rankings. I have it on my letterbox and see exactly where. But
I thought was interesting. There was no reference to, which I thought maybe would have been referenced. What's his face? The Winter Soldier.
Bucky.
Because he was super close to the Wakandans and was taking care of.
But he's the
white wolf or whatever, you know?
Yeah, but he dipped.
Yeah, I mean, in the Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Fountain and Winter Soldier.
Fountain in the, what is it? The hash slinging, the slash slinging, the fountain, the Fallon, Jimmy Fallon and the Winter Soldier. No, so when they did that, they show up like the.
I wish they did more White Wolf stuff.
Yeah,
they kind of skipped over that.
They kind of called him that, and they were like, I'm saying it would have been intriguing to see him like come back
for sure,
or at least for the funeral scene, you know, like a little cameo, something, because he was close to him, you know. I feel like he was close enough.
Yeah, we didn't get enough cameos during the funeral. Yeah,
there was like, honestly, this only connection to like outside world, outside of this like contained thing in Namor was what's his face in Val, the detective in Val. There was no more connections to anyone else. That's what I'm saying. It's weird to me sometimes in the Marvel films. And I get it. There's like logistics of it, and there's also things going on. But it's always so weird.
But I like that they've kind of protected that, because they've done that consistently throughout. Unless it's like specifically a team movie, they're gonna be pretty exclusive to their characters.
I get it, but I'm just saying, like in real life, you would imagine that it'd be like
just fuck it.
No, like it's like I have Shuri's number. It's like famous people have each other's numbers, right?
Right.
So it's like Doctor Strange sees what's going on because he sees what's going on in the world. And unless he's in that other dimension, which he might be, like, it might make sense. It actually might be timed out where everyone's doing something. When I think about it, maybe because Spider-Man can't just fly places. He doesn't have money.
Yeah,
he lives in New York and has no money, so he's like kind of bound to New York issues.
Yeah, I like that they save it for the team movies.
Yeah, well, it kind of makes sense. For most of the characters that are on Earth, I don't think any of them would really be able to participate in this one. If you think about it, who else would have the knowledge to participate?
New Cap might go.
No, but Cap, Falcon, Winter, Sam Smith.
Yeah, Sam Smith.
No, what's his name? Sam. Isn't it Sam Smith?
Not Sam Smith. Sam.
I'm not gonna guess his last name because I want to sound bad.
Not Smith. Not the singer. Sam Smith.
No, I know Sam Smith. Unholy or whatever, but Sam something. Sam Samson. Samson. I don't know. Sam something. Wilson. Sam Wilson. Sorry. No, I think he would.
How are we doing on time, fam?
Almost at 2 hours.
Oh, okay, cool. We should be cutting down.
Yeah,
but
we can end this.
I don't think any of them would have the capacity to go there. Also, Sam's broke. He's dealing with America. He's Captain America, not Captain Wakanda.
All I'm saying is that I'm happy that they didn't do it, and it worked out. And not happy. It would have been cool. You know, it would have been cool having people there.
It makes sense. It makes sense.
It doesn't change the movie for me.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Cool. GG's.
Good movie.
That's it.
Subscribe, like, comment.
Yeah. No outros. No fancy stuff. Just two dudes.
Peace
out.